kind of just want to go straight into the game because I have no idea how much of the game is left at this point. I guess this must be like the final time. God, that's loud. This must be like the final time block unless there's like something else? Like an epilogue after this? Jack has a keep out. Mr. Stanley. I would jump into Stanley. Have I taken that? I think what Tatsuno and Stanley are doing here are gonna heavily affect what's gonna happen over with Achi and Kano. Yeah. So I think I should really focus on these two, since they're like directly trying to deal with Alphard here. As he drove along, Stanley again tried to deduce Alphard's plan of action. If Alphard herself was on the way to the lab now, then what was the objective of the fake who'd been sent to the Scramble? Act as a decoy? Really, that was an imposter's purpose. It would be a simple matter of providing a brief distraction. Careful to wipe out almost everyone she associated with in the past. That was precisely why all of her defining characteristics, such as age and sex and nationality, had been unknown. It's unthinkable that she allowed this decoy who almost certainly knew who she really was to stay alive. Since Hitomi carried the antiviral in her blood, Alphard likely wanted to get rid of her as well. Terrace Mastermind was planning to steal the antiviral from the lab, but as long as some of it remained in Hitomi's bloodstream, she wouldn't have a monopoly on it. Aha! Realize what Alphard hoped to accomplish at the Scramble. She meant to eliminate both Hitomi and her own decoy at the same time. Yeah, that explains the bomb. Question was how, blowing shit up. Getting with her bombing in Chicago, Alphard had made a frequent use of remote-controlled explosives, so likely she opted for something similar here as well. She wasn't going to be at the Scramble herself. How in the world was she going to trigger the explosion? Some clue to be found in something she said or done earlier. Think. Try to remember. Think. Try to remember. If he didn't do something, everyone at the Scramble is probably going to die. Desperately racked his brain, he remembered something Kano had said. It had been a while they were at the scene of the minivan explosion together. A cell phone ringtone at the time of the explosion, not sure if that's significant though. Right, I realized this back when I was editing the VOD for last stream. They played the ringtone. They played the ringtone right before the explosion. So I think if anyone calls Hitomi, that bomb is gonna come off, because that's her ringtone, I think. Call the recent exchange between Alphard and Hitomi. Called each other's cell phones, yeah. I'd been really checking to make sure she had the right number. Make sure Hitomi hadn't changed her ringtone. That was it. Bomb was set to detonate and respond to a specific piece of music. The ringtone on Hitomi's phone was the trigger. Where could the bomb be hidden then? It must be with, Palmer. It must be with Palmer, because if it was on Hitomi, she would just be dead already. Stanley didn't have the time to think. He needed to alert Akano and the others right away. Recalled the map of the stakeout positions would be probably right next to the decoyed Alphard. It might be a mistake to call him under these circumstances. Maybe he couldn't risk calling Kano, but he could call Achi. Dialed Achi's Endo's number. Please don't let me be too late. Muttered to himself as he waited for the call to connect. Achi was quick to pick up. Oh shoot, wait. I don't know if I should play Achi's story up until a keep out. I feel like most of it is gonna be kind of the same. Still seems so confident. Come from Mitomi, she spotted a vial sailing in a high arc away from all the SOS members. Damn it. Launched into motion, ignoring the searing pain in the leg, but the falling vial was so far away. Kano does not catch it. Yep. Threw himself into a head-first slide. Nice catch! Broke into cheering and applause. To his feet and looked around, but no sign of either Kano or Alphard. If you're looking for a detective, gestured with his chin, saw Kano far away across the scramble chasing after Alphard. Both men were lost in a crowd. Charged off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made that impossible. Get him, detective. Murmured under his breath, we're counting on you. There we go. And then Stanley probably calls him, right? It just doesn't feel right to call Mr. Stanley Jack. It's either Stanley or Jack Stanley. Eventually, Achi spotted Kano on the far edge of the crowd. The detective pumped his fist in victory, got an Alfred to cough up the password. Thank goodness. Finally, some really good news. Now Hitomi and Maria were both safe. I don't think it's gonna be that easy. There's still a bomb here somewhere. A surge of relief ran through Achi's body. Unexpectedly, his cell phone rang. It was Stanley. Wait, hold on. Is there gonna be a keep out on your end? So I wanna make sure. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? Yep. Goddamn. I'm gonna be switching. I feel like I'm just gonna be switching between these characters a lot. Should really just. Mr. Stanley, what's going on? I'm thinking maybe I should just play each character until I come to either a bad end or a keep out. How did the negotiations go? Filled him in on the good news. Caught Alphard, he got him to give up the password. I think he called the folks at the lab. Does that mean the case is closed? Not yet. Right now I need to do exactly as I tell you. For a moment, Achi's head swam. This isn't over yet? There's still a bomb. Why? What's going on? Wanna say if you told me, then shut up and listen. Alright, tell me what to do. Need to power down Hitomi's cell phone. Turn off her phone? What for? Is Stanley serious or just messing with him? Pretty sure that there's a bomb somewhere near your location. Bomb? Squeaked into falsetto. The guy that Kano just apprehended is a decoy. The real Alphard is planning to eliminate Hitomi and the false Alphard at the same time. Eliminate both Hitomi and his own decoy? Why would he do that? And if the guy they just captured was a fake, then who was the real Alphard? He couldn't wrap his head around it. The more he tried, the more his thoughts became a jumbled mess. First, turn off that cell phone. Then, go and look for the bomb. Okay, got it. Just need to do what Stanley told him to do. He didn't have time to make sense of the situation. Hang up, he called out to Hitomi. Tell me you have to turn off your cell phone. She stared back at him, too confused to act. Look, just hurry up and do it. Right, okay. Pulling her phone from her pocket, she switched the power off. We are safe. Then Achi turned in Kano's direction. Detective! Looking toward him, seemingly already aware that something was amiss. Detective, that's not the real Alphard, he's a fake. A fake? looked understandably shocked. Just got a call from Stanley. He said that the real Alphard is trying to get rid of both Hitomi and the fake with some kind of bomb. Kano hurriedly returned back to the fake Alphard and began a fresh barrage of questions. Achi's mind was racing again. If the bomb was meant to wipe out both Hitomi and the imposter, it would have to be pretty powerful. So it couldn't be anything particularly small. Where could the bomb be hidden then? Scanned the area but didn't spot any place that seemed plausible. Made his way over to Hitomi. Pardon me, miss, I just need to search you real quick. Had Hitomi been planted? Keep an eye on this guy. If he tries anything funny, feel free to punch his lights out. Sure thing! Something silly about this one CG. I don't know what, it's just kind of funny. Achi took up watch over the decoyed Alphard. The guy was handcuffed but still a diabolical terrorist. Knew he couldn't let his guard down for a moment. Kept a close eye on the fake, ready to knock him cold at the first sign of mischief. Continue to search Hitomi. Did you buy all the Did you buy all the jewelry and accessories you're wearing yourself? Yes, most of them. The ring I got from my sister. Bought your clothes. Bought them just this afternoon. Top I was wearing before got torn. I see. Cried out suddenly in realization. Tell me you have to give me your cell phone. It's a bomb. I don't think so. I don't think it's the cell phone. Because if it's not going to be anything on Hitomi, so it's probably going to be something on Palmer then. Hurriedly pulled out her cell phone and handed it to Kano, looked on in alarm as he realized the detective was going to turn the phone on. Stop, don't turn that thing on! Rose like Achi's sudden shout. Why not? Worked a quizzical eyebrow. I don't know, it's just what Stanley said. He told me not to make sure her phone stayed off. The blood drew invisibly from Kano's face. Kano dialed up the police. He launched into a discussion involving a lot of cop jargon that made no sense to Achi. Tomi's phone itself might be the bomb. I don't think so. Stanley should have probably explained that the bomb is triggered by the frickin' ringtone. That might have helped. But wait. Found himself doubting the phone bomb idea. Hadn't brought her cell phone with her, what would have happened then? No explosion here? Didn't buy it. Would have thought of a way to eliminate Hitomi and a decoy crook whether she had her phone on her or not. Too worrying a prospect to ignore. Waited have been patiently for Kano to hang up and asked, well, what do we do? For now, let me handle this. We don't know when this thing might explode. You guys get out of here. You're wrong. Set the cell phone down on the ground and began to put some distance between himself and it. Followed after him, dragging the fake Alphard along. Yeah. Tremendous boom and a furious impact ripped through Achi's body. And then we died. Knew it. Thought as he laid crumpled on the pavement, there wasn't... They didn't play the ringtone before the explosion, though. Hitomi's cell phone was powered off. So it could have been the bomb. Something else must have exploded instead. It was the last thought Achi ever had. The bomb explodes. Stanley, you just need to explain shit a little bit better, I think. Mr. Jack Stanley. to be the... Mr. Stanley, what's going on? How did negotiations go? The detective caught Alphard, he got him to give up the password, and I think he called the folks at the lab, not yet. Exactly as I tell you. Shut up and listen. First, you need to power down Hitomi's cell phone. There's a bomb somewhere near your location. A bomb? There's a decoy. Exact same conversation. Didn't have time to explain that Cannon was Alphard, it would only confuse the matter all the more at this point. Turn off that cell phone, then look for the bomb. Hung up. Fuck. Hopefully the team at the Scramble would be able to pull through. Need to focus on capturing Alphard. And his grip on the steering wheel. Coming on far too strongly to keep them in check. The choice might be an Achi Kano story then. Back of his mind, Stanley thought about the last he'd ever seen of Frank. Oof. Nothing left of his brother but a bloody hand reaching out from beneath the rubble. Ugh. Ever since that day, ever since that very moment, Jack Stanley had sworn vengeance upon Alphard. He would never forget the rage he felt at having what was left of his family taken from him. Hey Jack. This is all tidy up, I'm gonna need a drink. You and me have a beer together. Sure, got this. Stanley sprang into action, leading away the throng of panicking civilians. Couldn't help but worry about Frank. We got almost 30 minutes left, he'll be fine. Backup will definitely be here in time. He did his utmost to reassure himself, but still the doubts gnawed. The bomb squad descended upon the area, clad in their protective gear. Stanley shot a look at his watch. Explosive ordnance disposal EOD suits, also commonly known as bomb suits or blast suits. How loud is this? This is quite loud. Let me turn it down for you guys just a little bit. Worn during bomb disposal operations to protect the wearer from the shock of a blast or from any hurled fragments an explosion may produce. Such a suit is, however, wholly inadequate to protect the wearer from a large, powerful explosive, such as several hundred grams of C4 detonated at close range. Felt a surge of relief. Only 15 minutes had passed. Still plenty of time for them to deactivate the bomb with their liquid nitrogen. Thank God. It's gonna be alright. They got no chance to relish that thought. Oh. An ear-splitting boom as a powerful shockwave shook the area. He backed around, staring in horror at the place that his brother had been. Nothing remained but a mound of rubble. Later investigation revealed that the timer on the bomb exterior had been a mere ruse. Never linked to a timer at all, instead had been detonated via remote control. Electrical detonators capable of triggering an explosion with electrical currents were invented. They were quickly rendered old-style fuses obsolete. In modern days, many terrorists use small electronics such as cellular phones and keyless entry remotes for cars as explosive triggers. Deceived them using a visible timer to lull them into a false sense of security. Managed to save many lives that day, to be sure, but come at the cost of his own brother's life. Had he really made the best decisions he could have made? Still asking himself that same question over and over, even now. Still in the timeline where everyone dies at the Scramble, though. But no matter how much he blamed himself, it wouldn't bring Frank back. It's one thing he could still do for his brother was getting revenge on Alphard with his own hands. And in constant pursuit of Alphard ever since, he would stoop to any level for information without remorse. His opponent was someone who would do anything at all to achieve a goal. It only made sense for him to do the same. He stopped even hesitating to get his own hands dirty. Charged headlong into danger if he sensed Alphard's presence. Even his own life was the price he was willing to pay in the name of vengeance. Can never hope to latch his jaws onto his quarry's throat if he behaves like prey himself. He must be the greater predator. He would cast aside his humanity, would become a bloodstained beast if that improved his chances at the hunt. The hunt was all that mattered. Pursuit of Alfred had become his only purpose. So it had been for the past 2 years. Now those years flashed through Stanley's mind in a blink of an eye. Came back into the moment, he marveled at his own ferocity and at the depth of the wound he suffered. This is very much a moral scale, and I think I'm gonna go neutral here. Because Alfred definitely needs to be stopped, at least for the sake of many, many, many people. But it doesn't also need to be personal. It's not just Mr. Jack Stanley's business. If I don't sink to her level, I'll never be able to beat her. And room for nothing but revenge. The law wasn't going to punish Alfred, Stanley was. He didn't care if anyone else thought it was a petty vendetta. Only someone who suffered the loss of a loved one at the hands of a vicious killer could understand his seething resentment. Finally, the Akoshi Pharmaceutical Laboratory came into view. There were 2 people standing outside the front gate. Tatsuno and the girl who was pretending to be Canon. Each had a gun drawn on the other. Somehow he made it in time. Pulled his car up alongside them and reached down into the gun sleeve concealed beside his seat. Pulled out a .44 caliber Desert Eagle, most powerful semi-automatic handguns in the world. A semi-automatic handgun designed by Minnesota-based Magnum Research Inc. and manufactured by Israeli Weapon Industries. There are various models chambered for different rounds. The largest, the 50 Action Express .50 AE is exceptionally powerful by semi-automatic handgun standards. His orders were to apprehend Alfred. Smaller Glock in his shoulder holster might be better suited to that end. He opted for the deal. Getting out of the car, he started pacing towards the young woman, Stanley. Tatsuno glanced over at him, his face pale, gave a silent nod in reply. He could see the hint of a smile on the girl's face, probably a smile of overconfidence. Brazenness would get her no further. Got in touch with the others, told him to turn off Hitomi Osawa's cell phone. Maybe don't tell her that. Probably still... It still blew up anyway, so maybe don't tell her that. You can see her eyes react. I imagine by that they also managed to deal with the bomb you planted on your decoy. Remain silent. Managed to bypass the lock inside the lab. What this means? Your little plan has failed, completely. See the girl's stare sharpen. Chase Alfred all around the world, only to arrive here at last in this little island nation. Been a long, long journey, and he'd spent a long time suffering. Both the journey and the suffering would be over. Gun. We meet at last, Alfred. Well, Stanley got his end. People at the Scramble are still dying. So we probably should do something about that. It's probably gonna be in Kano's story, though. I feel like Tatsuno might reach his end soon-ish, maybe as well. But I wanna start with Kano to make sure Achi does not die. Looks like we'll be able to have that beer together after all. Furusawa picked up. It's Kano, I have the password. Are you serious? Give it to you. Are you ready? I feel like I should keep a note of this. They're telling me this for a reason. So I feel like I should write this down, just in case. As he passed along the alphanumeric sequence, Kano kept his eyes on Palmer, stared back at him with a expression of bitter defeat. If they didn't, like, tell me exactly what the password was, I don't think I would have written it down, but the fact that they're actually telling us what it is, I feel like it's gonna be important somehow. Other end of the phone. Excited voice came through. It did it! Opened, locked, opened. Not on a deep breath of utter relief. Really satisfied with catching me and saving the life of one girl. I suppose that's a Japanese way to forget the pain that's been visited upon you. Not over. The bloodshed will continue. All over the world. Men, children, the elderly, innocent, all will bleed. Because absolute justice is on our side. Punch him in the face. Is that right? Nice. Drove his fist into Palmer's face, as you do. No such thing as absolute justice. That kind of blind faith that kept the world in conflict. Well, sure is quite the mess. Hi, Kuze. Rolling around in surprise, Kano saw Kuze standing there. Dr. Kuze bowed his head apologetically. He have apprehended the criminal mastermind, but only because he ignored a direct order to place Maria under quarantine. I'm sorry, sir, but I... Save the apology. Kuze interrupted. You're the one who solved the case. You did good, kid. Once again, Kano bowed, this time even more deeply. One more thing. There's a bomb. Yeah? Sasayama has regained... Oh! Oh, he's alive. Okay. My boy, my man. I want to see more of your cosplay. Goddamn. Sasayama has regained consciousness. I thought you'd like to know. Sasayama... They were able to save him? Got a call from the hospital. Looks like he's gonna pull through. That's great. Really great news. Tears of relief came to Kano's eyes. And if Osawa was able to get the lock at the lab open, he should also have been able to get Maria the antiviral without further difficulty. Dragged Palmer to his feet, then undid the handcuff from his own wrist, using it to properly bind his captive. Snapped shut with a soft, satisfying click. Limply hung his head. It was over. It's finally over. There's a bomb! It really had been quite a day, Kano reflected. Beyond all the challenges he faced, he had come face to face with his own shortcomings. Now he knew what a long way he had to go to be the man he wanted to be. But at least he learned what it truly meant to be a detective. I mean, you don't even look alike, but... Took his head and cleared his throat. You don't even look alike. You know, Kano, for a second there, you look just like Tatsuno. Oh, well, okay. Really, sir? Smiled, fussing sheepishly with his hair. Kuze's words were the finest praise he could ever asked for. Someday he'd hoped he really might be a detective like Tatsuno. No, he decided he would be. And until then, he'd never give up on that dream. Might be a long, long road, but he would walk it. The bomb, though. Looked up into the sky. The neon lights of the city shone from all over. This was the same old Shibuya that it always was, but one that he looked at now with new eyes. Okay, but bomb. Ah. I guess from here. So we're eliminated. Is this it? Yeah. Wise. Except cell phone rang. Appeared on the incoming cell display. Quick picked up. What's going on? You need to get Hitomi Osawa to safety immediately. He's trying to get her blood. He wants her eliminated. What? Wasn't making any sense. Alfred Palmer had already been arrested. The threat was over now. Hurry. Yes, sir. Detective. Standing with Hitomi and the others near a statue of Hachiko. Detective. It's not a real Alfred, he's a fake. A fake. Just got a call from Stanley. Didn't want to believe it. If Alfred was just a decoy, that meant the real culprit was elsewhere, still on the loose. Rang with desperation. He said the real Alfred is trying to get rid of both Hitomi and the fake with some kind of bomb. Get rid of Hitomi? That lined up with what Tatsuno had called to warn him about. It must be true then. Once again, Kano tensed. A bomb, but where? Get me the explosive ordnance of division, someone squawked. Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department Security Bureau's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 6th riot police units, as well as the support vehicle unit. Division members are trained in explosives disposal. A dangerous explosive is frozen with liquid nitrogen, then moved away from the site via a support vehicle. Bomb is then detonated in a safe location. Explosives are almost never dismantled on site. I see. Got an emergency here. Kyusei practically screaming into his cell phone. We're at the scramble outside the station. Hurry. Started running towards the precinct, still shouting as he wove his way through the crowd. Felt himself starting to panic. If Hitomi and Palmer were the targets, a bomb had to be nearby. Stormed over to his captive. Where's the bomb? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. I already told you the password. What point would there be in keeping things from you now? He doesn't know. He was not aware of the presence of a bomb. At a point. And if he had known about the existence of the bomb, he'd kept it a secret so far. Getting him to reveal it now would not be easy. Look for himself. Try to think logically. What would he do? How could he ensure that he eliminate both Hitomi and the fake Alfred at the same time? Or would he plant a bomb in order to pull that off? On the fake, somewhat, I think, yeah. No other place he could have possibly had planted it. It can't be on Hitomi. Pat Palmer down carefully. He shouted, "Check the case, hurry!" Gestured to the attached case Palmer had been carrying. Don't move. Searched through the captive's jacket and the pockets of his pants. Came up with nothing. Put the bomb into the man's watch or belt. Stop this, I'm not carrying a bomb. Shut your mouth. Didn't spot anything suspicious about the watch or belt. He can lunch his John's frustration. Did Palmer really not have it after all? Detective! He looked alarmed, dragging Palmer along. Palmer's face went pale. No, it can't be. Alfred, why? His voice was hoarse with betrayal. Get fucked. Then he abruptly broke into stilted laughter. Trusting someone really does make you blind. Such a simple, childless ruse. Right under my nose. I looked over at Kano. You need to get out of here immediately. That right there is C4. Plastic explosives. A plastic explosive created for military use. The chief component is RDX, trimethylene, trinitramine, which is combined with a plasticizer such as diacylsibecate, is highly reliable and is used by many military forces around the world, most notably the US Armed Forces. High-yield plastic explosive used by the military. That's enough to blow this whole area to smithereens. Chill ran up Kano's spine. Do not let this man go. Getting Palmer over to Susumu. Got it. Just leave it to us. Signaled to his followers, who immediately dumped Palmer unceremoniously on the ground. Inspected the inside of the attached case. False bottom in the case was indeed packed full of plastic explosives. Within it was what looked like a detonator. Didn't know much about bomb disposal. He had been taught the very basics during his police academy training. Something drew his eye. A microphone. There was a parabolic microphone attached to the detonator. In all likelihood, had been set to go off in response to some sort of sound. Detective, is that thing gonna explode or not? Shaky. It looks like it's sound activated, but it hasn't gone off from just from having people talking nearby. Set to explode in response to a specific sound trigger. Specific sound, huh? Took a moment to think. That's it. Must be Hitomi's ringtone. That's why Stanley had me power her cell phone off. We're safe then? It's not gonna explode anymore, right? Had to fight back any feelings of relief. They couldn't forget that this was Alfred they were dealing with. Assuming they were safe would be a dangerous mistake. Carefully lifting up the detonator. Spotted another cable connected to the bomb. Tried to remove the plastic explosive from the attached case. Still has a timer. It was only an intermediate layer concealing a second false bottom. A small timer had been set beneath it. It's not just a sound trigger. Mouth has gone dry as the voice came out in a whisper. The bomb has also been fitted with a countdown timer. And right on the mark. The ringtone of Hitomi's cell phone would trigger the explosion. That way Alfred can eliminate both her and his stooge Palmer at the same time. But in case the sound trigger were discovered, as a backup the bomb also had been rigged to explode after a set time. Speed dial's boss, Director Kuze. Where's that bomb squad? Minute 51. Minute 50. Not even 2 minutes left to go. Didn't look the explosive ordnance unit would make it in time. You know, Achi's standing right beside the bomb case. Achi, leave that thing and get out of here. Achi didn't move. No way. He sat down the attached case cradle in his... Oh... Achi, what the hell are you doing? I'm not going anywhere until everyone's made it to safety. Detective, you need to get these people someplace safe right away. Clear the area first, and then I'll go. There's no way I can do that. Damn it, don't you want to save these people too? His lower lip in frustration. Achi is right. The bomb went off amidst a crowd like this, there was no telling how many casualties there'd be. He had to do whatever he could as quickly as possible. Get back, everyone get back! He shouted at the top of his lungs, oh Achi. There's a bomb, everyone get out of here, just run! Along his lead started directing nearby civilians to safety. Tell me Susumu and the others added their voices his. There's a bomb. Everyone run. Get away as fast as you can. Please, you all have to get out of here. The crowd wasn't listening to their warnings. Hurry closer to see what the commotion was all about. It was no use. They were out of time. Had to save Achi at least. He turned back to him and called out. Achi, that's enough. Leave the bomb and let's go. Achi, come on. Only clutched the bomb more tightly. What are you doing? Come with us, hurry! So Achi wouldn't move. Suzumu's face went pale. Wait! Achi, your leg! What about my leg? Earlier, when you kicked that steel pipe. What the hell? Finally, Kano understood. It wasn't that Achi didn't want to move. He couldn't move. So he decided to get all heroic and use himself as a human shield to minimize the impact of the explosion on everyone else. That idiot. His leg was busted. Why didn't he say so? Not even make it this far. Couldn't be much time left. Kano helped to rush to help him now. He might not make it to safety before the bomb went off. He had to make a decision. I feel like this is gonna end up at a bad end, regardless of what I do here. And just rush in without a plan. Cool mind and a fiery spirit, and the more heated the situation was, the more he needed to stay cool. He could feel the muscles in his legs begin to stiffen. He did his best to slow his racing heartbeat as his mind sought desperately for a way out of the situation. Where's the dry ice machine? His eyes remained fixed on Achi, holding that bomb in his arms. Knowing it could explode at any moment made it almost impossible to think. The harder he tried to calm himself, the more his panic grew. He cursed himself for not leaping into action immediately. He would have acted before thinking. It was the only thing he was good at. And still he stood frozen, staring at Achi. Then he felt the hairs rise up on the back of his neck. Light smoke was pouring from an approaching minivan. Teetered to a stop along the shoulder of the road, smoke spilled out, roiling out from partly open window. Could feel a strange chill in the air. Is that? Rushed toward it. Dry ice maker. He saw a clunky box-shaped device in the bag. It was rumbling fiercely, spitting out an unending mound of white clumps. Dry ice machine. Hey! Open up! By freezing a bomb that used an electronic activation trigger, it's possible to kill the battery cell and deactivate the detonator. Explosive ordnance unit used liquid nitrogen, but dry ice could work as well. Nitrogen had been cooled to a liquid state with a temperature below negative 195.8 Celsius. And be poured onto explosives to stop the function of components such as the battery cell for the detonator. In situations where the surrounding area can be safely secured, it is preferable to destroy the explosion via detonation rather than simply arrest its function. Yeah, in order for explosion to happen, it has to be like an unstable material to begin with, so like an unstable in the sense that it must like have like some sort of like reaction. It is capable of having reactions and having reactions very violently when the correct conditions are met. I'm not a chemist or anything, I just know shit. Carbon dioxide in its solid state evaporates at negative 79 Celsius at a standard atmospheric pressure. It must be kept refrigerated or it rapidly dissipates into mist. Thus it's used in smoke/fog machines. Odds of dry ice being able to stop the detonator of a bomb are quite low. Battery cells do lose electromotive force in sub-zero environment, but there's no guarantee this would actually work, so don't try this at home. So he met inside the vehicle, shouted at one in the driver's seat, "I need to borrow that machine." Man replied in a lethargic drawl. "No way, man, we haven't even paid this thing off yet. No time to explain or negotiate, take it by force." "Hold it right there." Another van suddenly appeared in front of the vehicle. The pushy fellow Kana had run into at the scene of the explosion. Did you get more fucked up? You guys are with the Wandering Angels Theater Troupe, yeah? Oh wait, yeah, he did get more fucked up. Episode 6, the finale. The minivan carrying Tezuka, Bando, and Amo veered wildly through the streets of Shibuya, leaving a trail of white smoke in its wake. Definitely impaired by oxygen deprivation, came close to causing several accidents. Teetering on the brink of consciousness, they were still trying to reach Endo Electronics when they run into Kano and the companions instead. After Kano takes the machine off their hands, the three happily head back to the theater, clean up, crack open some beers, and look back over one long crazy day. Point out the dry ice machine. That thing's defective, you don't fucking say. Guy from the electronics store said he'll refund your deposit. For real? Told me to tell you that machine's been recalled. We'll bring it back for you, so hurry up and open the door. Okay. Help the three men unload the dry ice machine from the minigun, then turn to Kano. Here. Hurry up and take it. Right, thanks. Wasn't sure what was going on, but he took the machine and ran, pushing it ahead of him across the pavement. Achi! Tommy wailed, tears in her eyes. The detective flew right past her, trailing a billowing plume of white smoke in his wake. Please let me make it in time. Please let me make it in time. Please let me make it in time. Let loose a wild yell. He ran as fast as his legs would take him towards Achi and the bomb. To be continued. That's a different one. That's a different to be continued text. It's only 7:20. Okay. A lot of this stuff is gonna be the same. Checks the suitcase. Light on the attached case decoy that discarded. Could it be? Call out to him. Check the case. Pieces of medical equipment, tubes and syringes and the like. Look under. What could the bomb possibly be? Damn it. Gotta find the explosive soon. Took another hard look at the case. Shaking it might not be a good idea. Flip it. Faint metallic sound from inside. Saw nothing of note. Tilted the case from side to side, looked empty. There was something a distinct sound of something metal sliding back and forth. Could it be? Tugged at the case's inner lining, quickly tearing it free. Looked behind it, his eyes went wide. A thin layer of something that resembled clay had been affixed inside the cover of the case. Several wires connected it to a small electronic device. This was it. Bomb really was inside the attached case. Here it is. Found it. Captain with him, take a look. Can't be. Shut up, man. Just shut up. You get out of here immediately. Same stuff from Kano's story. Microphone. Sound activated. Tommy's ringtone. Safe then. But wait, there's more. Right inside. Steadily ticking down to seconds. Scanned the nearby area. There were too many people around the scramble. Tommy was there. Susumu was there. several more of his old pals, along with a bunch of innocent bystanders. People are the lifeblood, Achi reminded himself. Blood that coursed through the body that was the city. Like cells, they brought to life the city he so loved. And Achi wanted to be one of the red, was it white? Blood cells of Shibuya. Achi, leave the thing and get out of here. No way. Sat down, cradling the case in his arms. What the hell are you doing? Not going anywhere until everyone's made it to safety. Detective, you need to get these people someplace safe right away. Clear the area first, then I'll go. There's no way I can do that. Do you want to save these people? Oh. Tomi wrapped her arms around Achi from behind. Achi, don't do this. Tomi, you need to get out of here too. Why? Why are you acting so crazy? Tears blurred her words and he could feel her trembling against him. Doesn't matter, just get as far away as you can. No, I'm not leaving you. After the day they spent together, Achi knew full well that telling Tomi something once wasn't enough to get her to listen. That stubbornness was one of the many things that made her so amazing in his eyes. Tomi. Asked one of her hands tightly. Please. This is the one favor I will ever ask you. His voice came out oddly soft and gentle. Alright. But let me just say one thing first. So many things I want to talk to you about. So much more that I want to know about you. So please, Achi, don't you die on me. Don't worry. Once everyone's made it to safety, I'll clear out of here right away. Squeezed his hand and then got up and silently hurried away. Susumu, you and SOS, start getting these people out of the area. Yeah, alright. Turned away and spurred the gang into motion. Then, for an instant, Achi's eyes met Kano's. Tiny nodded and looked down at the timer. Get back! Everyone get back! There's a bomb! Ran, his voice raw, trying to warn the crowd away. Get out of here, just run. Please, you all have to get out of here. The crowd didn't heed their warnings. Earlier deciding that time was up, Kano turned back to Achi. It's enough. Leave the bomb and let's go. You could hear Susumu and Tomi shouting as well. Ugh. The way Palmer had talked about his bomb, it sounded like a pretty dangerous one. Might be powerful enough to blow up the entire intersection. There were still so many people nearby. There's no chance they'd be able to safely... They'd be able to get to safety in the few dozen seconds that remained. Needed to minimize the force of the blast as much as possible. Riddled the bomb more tightly to his chest, huddling over it. What are you doing? Come with us, hurry! I don't know how powerful this bomb is, but please, God, let my body be enough to protect the people of Shibuya. To protect Hitomi. Squeezed his eyes tightly shut. I'm sorry, Suzune. Looks like I won't be able to keep visiting you in the hospital anymore. You'll forgive me though, right? Stuck it through to the end just like you told me to. Didn't call it quits partway through. So whatever you do, you can't let the disease beat you. Don't you dare let it beat you. Your deep breath as he finished his solitary little prayer. Can have more than a few seconds left to go. Kano. Achi. Hitomi. He was glad that her voice was the last thing in this world he'd ever hear. So I thought. Bring the bomb over here! That wasn't Hitomi's voice. So Kano racing toward him, pushing some big weird piece of machinery. Flipped over, the machine's cover to reveal a huge amount of dry ice. Stick it in here, flash freezing the timer ought to stop it. It is, you told, shoving the attached case into the dry ice. Power more dry ice on top of it. Let's hope that's enough. Looked like a man desperate for a miracle. You can see the timer displays through a gap in the frozen hydrogen, still counting down. Is this not going to work? Held their breaths. Guess I have to continue with Tatsuno's story first then. Your last one. I don't have to set that out. Jump in there. Come on, Jack. Come on, Mr. Stanley. Friend's entire life was changed because of you. I don't actually know if this is new dialogue or not. I had he try to talk the culprit down. He knew the reason why, because he loved Katone. He loved her even after she became Daisuke's wife. His desire to be the one who saved her had warped his sense of judgment when things had come down to the wire. Tatsuno, do you not enjoy being with me? There was a forlorn look on Katone's face, and that he didn't enjoy being with her. Her very presence soothed him. But the more serious their relationship had grown, the more it tore at Tatsuno's heart. Truth was that he didn't really know what happiness was, and he was incapable of making someone else happy. Or possible he'd want Katone to be smiling always. And that meant her being with someone other than him. I think it'd be best if we stopped seeing each other. Let out the words bluntly and Katone's face fell. And I'm broken up with her because of any lack of feeling for her. Pimples had actually been sprung out from his pursuit of human warmth and his growing fear of losing it. So uneasy. More than anything, he'd been afraid that he wanted too much love and affection from Katone. Bit by bit, Tatsuno lowered his gun, his hand ever more unsteady. His heart was on the cusp of breaking. Continued with her diabolical whispering. Go ahead and kill me. Turns out I'm not Alfred, what then? Stared at Tatsuno with a pitiful look. I've once more done something that you can never undo. Something I can never undo. Repeated the words faintly. Repeated the words dully, feeling himself forced into a trance. Did you ever accept that? I couldn't. Couldn't make the same mistake. His whole body felt like it might fall apart. He wanted to drop to the ground and curl up in a ball like a child. That's why you can't shoot anyone. Can't shoot anyone. Kano's face appeared in the back of his mind. I can. Tears fell from Kano's eyes as he looked down the barrel of his gun at Tatsuno. He'd become a detective who didn't lose sight of what he was supposed to protect, no matter the situation. Tatano had nearly forgotten. Nearly abandoned his inward promise to be a detective worthy of that final salute Kano had given him. Brought his gun back up to bear. Don't be absurd. Can't shoot anyone. Actually, I can. Words creak dryly from Tatano's throat. There's something I'm supposed to protect. I can't shoot. Memory of Kano weeping but taking aim at him had given him the resolve he needed to face down an opponent who ought to have terrified him. I learned that from someone. He's terrible at his job. Kanon's eyes went cold. Immediately she lifted up her gun again. Once more their eyes locked, sparks of hostility crackling between them. Almost immediately, Tatano could sense the difference in skill between his opponent and himself. The young woman radiated a deadly aura. The force of her stare was like a knife pressed to his throat. She had borne witness to carnage and bloodshed the likes of which he couldn't even imagine. Couldn't win this. She would kill him, guaranteed. Brace himself for death, never taking his eyes off Kanon's. Nothing else, he needed to buy more time for Kano to get the password. Could do that. Given the opponent he faced, yes. Somehow, he would do it. As a detective, as a man. Even if he had to give his own life to succeed. Even if he couldn't come close to making up for the sins he had committed. Stanley. What now? We still need a conclusion. We still need a conclusion. Oh. They all converge. Kanon's friend. She felt a hand firmly clutching her own as she hazily returned to consciousness. Maria? This hand. Whose is it? My father's? Maria's eyelids slowly drifted open. Maria, you're alright now. Her father was indeed beside her, holding her hand. Surprising warmth radiated from his slender, bony palm. Dad? She was lying on a sofa. She craned her neck to look around, still trying to process what was going on. Several monitors set up around the room. Where are we? At my lab. You're infected with a virus, but I've given you the antiviral. You don't have anything to worry about. Squeeze Maria's hand even more tightly. That hurts. Right, sorry. Eased up the pressure on his daughter's hand. He didn't let go entirely. This feels so strange, Maria muttered, staring up at the ceiling. I wonder why. What does? Having you hold my hand. You used to hold your hand like this when we'd go on walks together, when you were little. I doubt you remember that, though. Maria considered. It was true. She didn't have any clear memory of her father holding her hand like this. And yet the touch of her father's palm felt distantly familiar. Gently, she squeezed back. It's been a while, hasn't it? I mean, me looking you in the eye while I'm talking to you. It's only because I didn't look you in the eye. Sawa hung his head. I'm so sorry. Please, forgive me. I never meant to hurt you like I did. Hold on. Taken aback. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean hurt me? Like on that rainy day? Told Maria about the day she ran away from home. I'd known where she had gone, but hadn't gone to find her. Given into his anger and struck her once she came back home. When he'd finished, he hung his head once more. So sorry, I've been such a terrible father. Cracked an impish smile. Oh yeah, I guess that did happen. Sawa frowned. You know, I totally forgot about that until you mentioned it just now, I mean. I can't believe that. The way I hurt you, I sounded so disappointed in himself. Dad, it's not like I can let myself dwell on each and every detail of my childhood. I mean, in the 19 or so years I've been alive, I've been hurt in a lot of different ways. Child experienced so much more than what her parents knew. That's what growing up was all about. It was a happy thing, but also a little bit sad. Sal was visibly grappling with his feelings. I see. So you have gone through a lot of pain. Well, yeah, but there have been more things that were fun and happy. I see. Some of all those things that have made me who I am today. So please, don't worry so much about the past. I see. Dad, you keep saying I see. Stop it. Sorry. It's just... this is all so difficult to say. He's trying and failing to hold back his tears. Wasn't quite sure what those tears were for, but she felt a prickle of embarrassment. Shyly, she looked away and her eyes alighted on one of the monitors. View from outside the lab. Who are those people? Looked and his eyes widened in shock. Three people with guns were facing off with one another. Recognized one of them, Tatano, the man with the cane. Why are those two pointing their guns at your friend? My friend? What do you mean? The one you met when we went to the Middle East, you know, Cannon? Switched the monitors to show a different camera angle. Appeared on screen, was at a loss for words. That certainly wasn't Cannon. It's the girl who'd come to tell Maria that Itomi was going to be kidnapped. Cannon's friend. Oh. It had happened 3 days earlier. On her way home from campus, a girl approached her telling her she was a friend of Cannon. Cannon asked me to pass along a message. Showed Maria a video recording. Quite poor and the voice indistinct. Terrorist is after the antiviral agent your father is developing. It's already in motion. He told me I'd been infected with a killer virus. Use the antiviral to save Itomi. Plan on that. I'll spare you the details. Stealing the drug from the laboratory directly is too problematic. Get it directly from your sister. Kidnapped sometime in the next few days. Something to ask you. Get it kidnapped in her place. Oh. She just told her straight up to get kidnapped. Okay. Gave the girl who's passing along this message a necklace outfitted with a small GPS. Wear the necklace, switch it on, let me keep tabs on your location. Keep the antiviral and Hitomi safe. Cannon's coming to Japan. She's already here. She's ready to risk her life for this mission. Started uneasily. Said Alphard. You know about Alphard? Taking down Alphard is her purpose in life, but Alphard has ties to the CIA, so it's hard for Cannon to get any good leads. Should have this. This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. He's an ally of Alphard. Well, not quite. Alright, I passed along everything Cannon wanted to tell you. Yeah, a lot's been happening, Maria. I'm sorry. God, Alfred has some guts acting like this. Goddamn. Okay. The heck's been going on while I've been asleep? Quite from the ferocity on his daughter's face, that Cannon girl thought of a way to save you. Stared at the monitor. Cannon's friend, another memory from before she blacked out drifted to the surface. This girl was planning. She pretended to be Cannon in order to get into the lab. Looked into the screen and then at his daughter's face. Who in the world is she? Maria already had the answer. She figured out the mystery faster than the detective. There's no doubt about it. That girl was Alfard. She knew they were in danger. If Alfard managed to infiltrate the lab, there was no way she'd be satisfied with simply getting her hands on the antiviral. So it ruined everywhere she went. Something wrong. She spoke her thoughts out loud. She's gonna kill you so the drug can't be recreated. No. That's not thorough enough. She's gonna destroy this whole facility. But how? Vague possibilities tumbled through her mind, but she couldn't be sure what the terrorists might be planning. She gritted her teeth in frustration. Don't worry. I don't know who that girl is, but right now she's outside the lab. There's no way she can kill me or plant a bomb in here or anything. I know. Something gnawed at the back of her mind. What would be the trigger for the necklace bomb, though? Took hold of the pendant that hung around her neck, felt a chill up her spine. She went back over the details of Alfred's plan as her father explained it. She understood. I've got it. Got what? I need to get out there where those three are. Don't be absurd. I have to go. Closely at his daughter's face. Words weren't going to stop her, and as he realized that, his own face stiffened with determination. Alright, but I'm going with you. I can't let you rush into danger all by yourself. Thank you, Dad. Tried to get up from the sofa, but she was struck by a wave of vertigo and her knees buckled. You're right. This is probably a side effect of the antiviral. You shouldn't push yourself too much. Looked up at her father's anxious face and shook her head. Don't worry, I'll be alright. Her body was weak with lethargy, her mind trapped in a disorientating haze. Every step was a monumental effort, but she clenched her jaw and forced herself onward, making her way down the laboratory hallway. A whirlwind of anger and sadness spurred her onward. It's masquerading as Cannon. The cruel truth was all too clear. Terrorists would never have been able to get away with the deception if Cannon were still alive. Which means that Cannon must be... Maria fought to hold back her tears. It was too early to cry just yet. They could wait until after she put a stop to Alfred's plan. Using her rage to suppress her sorrow, she shoved open the door in front of her. That isn't Cannon. Yeah, we kinda know already. Oh no, Maria. Maria's voice exploded into the silence of the standoff. Doubt we're getting any testimony to that. There's no talking your way out of things this time. The expression on Alfred's face didn't change. She stood still, a mannequin without a soul. What'd you do to Cannon? Marching unsteadily toward the terrorist, Maria stayed back. She ignored him. Hey, don't get any closer. Looked exhausted, on the verge of collapse. Answer me. What happened to Cannon? Still, Alfred said nothing. Stanley too began edging towards her. Doesn't matter what you ask, she won't tell you anything. He's going to try to take her down. Let me turn your question around. What do you think? Do I think about what? What do you think happened to Cannon? Corner of her lips twisted up, shaping a mirthless smile. Killed her, didn't you? Rhea's words came out as a whisper. What was that? I couldn't quite hear you. Killed Cannon, didn't you? This time Maria cried out with biting fury. Snickered. She's provoking me. Forcing herself to swallow her rage. She couldn't let herself get caught up in Alfred's game or her anger would spill out of control. Why are you laughing? By the force of will, Maria made her voice firm and steady. Because I'm guessing you weren't expecting me to show up here. Alfred raised an eyebrow ever so slightly. Staying here, it's a bomb, isn't it? Held out the necklace. Of course, even if we managed to catch you here, you'd still be able to destroy the lab. Seemed to enjoy watching other people figure out her intentions. Can't trigger the bomb with me standing this close to you, can you? Locked eyes with Alfred, unless you're prepared to sacrifice yourself. Her apprehension threatened to tear her apart. She could feel her heart thudding so furiously that she thought it might explode. Cold sweat trickled down her spine. Only her rage at Cannon's murder had kept her from backing down. Go ahead and blow yourself up if that's what you want, but you'll die with nothing. Death will mean nothing. Not mine. My death will avenge Cannon's. Silence fell outside the laboratory gates. Guns still trained on Alfred. Both men were ready to pull the trigger at the slightest provocation. Just how long had they been there, staring one another down? Passage of time seemed to slow, seconds drawn into hours. Someone swallowed audibly. Tossed her gun onto the pavement and held up both hands in surrender. Bringing forward to secure her. Moved a small device that looked like a detonator from one of her pockets. On your knees. Did as she was told. Good. Hands behind your head. Anything funny and I will shoot. What are you playing at? I only realized you can only push your luck so far. She responded with a faint snicker. It's not my policy to resist when things are hopeless. Tone was detached, her intentions unreadable. Good. That'll make this easy. With the barrel of his gun pointed at Alfred's head. This is for my brother. Hung in his throat unspoken, surge of emotion coursed through him. Just a tiny bit more pressure from his index finger and he put a bullet right through Alfred's head. His long journey would finally reach its conclusion. Though he wished for this moment more than anything, his finger did not move. If he pulled the trigger now, would that truly be the end? Reeled out the implications. Watched Stanley closely, eventually letting out a tiny sigh of relief. They were in this together after all. Just needed to be careful not to let down their guard. Kept one eye on Alfred as he went to pick up the gun she discarded. It's too late. Gun was gone. Maria! Put that down. Put it down. Put that down. Put that down. Do you even... Maria's dad is just like, what do you have there? A gun! No! This is for Cannon. Lunged forward, snatching up the gun. Maria, no. What are you thinking? Taking aim at Alfred's forehead. Cannon's dead. And you're gonna pay. Smoldering rage she fought to hold back blazed up with a renewed fury. Maria put down the gun, and nothing but words to stop her. There's no telling what Alfred might do if he took his gun off her. What will this accomplish? He asked, keeping his tone as level as possible. Maria's face remained awash with anger. Maria, please don't do this. Just step forward. Hand me the gun. Stay back. Tremble as she aimed the gun. Everyone stood frozen, not even daring to breathe. The slightest wrong move might bring disaster. Silence roared. I don't care. You want to shoot, then shoot. You do want to avenge Cannon, don't you? Yes I do. In her grip on the gun, memories of her friend drifted through her mind. To Maria, born up into peace, Minnie Cannon had been like touching a world beyond her own. A far more complicated world. Cannon had blood on her hands from the time she was a little girl. A walking contradiction of cruelty and childness. And yet, she had lived her life according to her own unshakable beliefs. Meeting her had made Maria think about her own identity. What did it mean to be Japanese? No, that wasn't the question. What did it mean to be Maria Osawa? That was the crux of it all. He had been able to find common ground despite differing ideals because both possessed an unshakable sense of self. Tense equilibrium came crashing down as Maria let out a shout. Ugh. Her shout went wide, shattering the window of a nearby car. Caught Stanley off guard. Didn't miss her opening. She rode swiftly across the pavement, drawing the small pistol she had hidden in an ankle holster. You didn't get that when you patted her down? Oh no. Dad? Collapsed at Maria's feet. Dad! Her father went limp. Dived at Alfred, he grabbed hold of her right wrist, one clutching the gun, and slammed her head down hard against the pavement. She made no attempt to resist. In a moment he had subdued her. Maria, you're not hurt, are you? Poked feebly at his daughter as his daughter gathered him up in her arms. I'm fine, but Dad, you're... Blood was gushing through Osawa's shirt. Maria pressed her hand against the wound, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. Just hurry, get here as fast as you can. On the cell phone calling for an ambulance. I know there was a traffic jam, just figure something out, please. His voice was ragged with desperation. Dad, hang in there. Large tears streamed from Maria's eyes. So, this is what it's like. Lay with his head in his daughter's lap, struggling to rasp out the words. My body just reacted before I had any time to think. I only understand what a virus must feel like. His eyes were hollow. Never told you and Hitomi, did I? Not when I started my fascination with virus research. Dad, try not to talk right now. Almost imperceptibly, he squeezed back. Probably isn't a very interesting story, but I'd like for you both to hear it anyway. I know, and we will. After this, I promise I will. Maria's words brought a contented smile to Osamu's face. Glad. So glad. It's alright, just don't talk right now. This time, at least, I was there for you. She slowly shut his eyes. Dad? But her father didn't answer. You shouldn't have grabbed the gun, goddammit. Clutched her father's hand, trying to make her grip firm and reassuring. Just as his had been for her back inside the laboratory. Please, don't die. She repeated the words inwardly over and over. CIA? Black car of foreign make arrived at the laboratory and pulled up to the curb. Stanley's superior Gordon emerged from the back. Few of his men followed and promptly placed Alfred in handcuffs. Well done. Gave him a slight nod. I'll be taking Alfred back to headquarters. You can finish up here. Understood. She helped Alfred into the backseat and slid in alongside her, and the car drove off. Who was that? My boss. Sorry, but we'll be taking Alfred into custody. You will, huh? Decided not to press the point. The ambulance arrived at last and Osawa was loaded inside. Maria remained at his side, still reaping, still softly calling out to him. He could sense her there, though her voice sounded awfully far away. Is this the end, then? He was vaguely aware that he was dying, but he was not afraid. At the far end of a hazy tunnel, he could still see Maria. She has grown. She grown so very much. They were an organism that multiplied by dividing himself. He would die knowing that he left his best selves behind. Only had one wish now. That Maria and Hitomi would go on to lead happy lives. Oh. His vision was growing steadily more dim. Tiny motes of life flickered and wavered faintly before his eyes. It looked like the first time he had ever peered through a microscope, and that was enough for him. Fuck. Maria's cell phone rang in Stanley's pocket. Why does he have her cell phone? He had meant to give it back to her, but the ambulance had already departed. Eventually fell into a death-like silence. That probably leads to something. Past midnight. Or no, 2 seconds left on the bomb. Achi held his breath. He could no longer feel the seconds ticking by. Numbers on the display were changing more and more slowly. Still watched in fear. It was impossible not to fixate on the countdown. Continued to stare at the timer. It had stopped. The timer had actually stopped. We did it! He dropped to his knees with a cry of triumph. The rest of Shibuya Scramble burst into cheers. You're one reckless guy, you know that? Kano held his hand out. Ah, fuck. Sorry, I'm really upset about Osawa. Okay. So this is a bit of a whiplash. Okay. Achi grinned up at him. That makes the two of us. Two clasped hands firmly. Their handshake conveyed more than any words could have. Achi! Or nope, was his... Suzumu came rushing over. He did it, man. I knew you could do it. Two bumped fists. We're just me. Could have never done it without you guys' help. Smiled bashfully. Hey, Suzumu, take care of SOS for me. You got it. Looked him squarely in the eye. Gave a little nod and two solemnly bumped fist again. Suddenly there was a blinding flash. Spun around to see Chiaki standing there, beaming happily, her digital camera ready for another shot. Do you notice too? I don't think you noticed too. Hey, everyone get her up! Minakawa called to Achi and his pals. You guys are the heroes of Shibuya. Photo time, everyone. Get ready! Young men struck a pose together. Her too. Ushered Hitomi over to stand with Achi. Hitomi stared at her shyly. It's all thanks to Hitomi that he'd been able to do what he had done. Keeping Shibuya safe, keeping his promise to Suzune. Hitomi had been his inspiration for it all. Kiss the girl. So many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't get the right words out. So kiss the girl. Achi, we're damp with tears. Hey now, little lady. No crying now. Come on, show us a smile. Struck a goofy pose beside Chiaki. Actually, yeah, no. Achi does know these two. They were at the SOS hideout when he was recruiting. At last, a smile returned to Itomi's face. Really is the best. Looked up to Achi in confusion. Smile. It's the best. I don't care what anyone else says. Spoke so earnestly that Itomi couldn't help but smile even more. Alright, here we go, people. Your best face is on. Everyone let out a joyous victory cry. What about Kano? Kano's not here? Oh, Kano? Nope, just SOS and Hitomi. Come on, guys, let's lift Achi up where everyone can see him. Huh? No, you don't gotta do that, guys. Cut it out. Swallowed up by the enthusiastic throng. There, in the middle of the scramble, Achi was being hailed as a hero. Looked on with a satisfied smile. What he achieved together was nothing less than a miracle. Taking a lot of luck, and more than a few coincidences for them to stop the bomb. Coincidences? Muttered to himself, no, that wasn't right. This was something different altogether. Fate, that's what it was. Not just one person's fate, like 7 people's at this point now? Yeah. Several people have collided, gathering momentum until coincidence became an inevitability and Shibuya was saved. The raucous crowd tossed Achi high into the air again and again. His foot is still fucked up. His leg is still fucked up though, so you better not drop him. As a plainclothes detective, Kano would probably never be showered with adulation quite like that. Well, that was alright. A detective's duty was to ensure the safety of the people. He didn't put his life on the line so he could be a hero. Seeing all those smiles, that was good enough for him. Only need the approval of one person, and that was Rumi, and maybe also her father. Rumi, I hope she managed to get out of Shibuya okay. Pulled out his cell phone. A whole bunch of things he wanted to tell her. Couldn't share the whole story. Police rules wouldn't allow it, but he wanted to let her know as much as he could. Kidnapping case had been resolved safely, for instance. And he learned about the tortured past of the detective he so admired. That his partner was going to pull through. And he managed to finally talk to her father. That he put his life on the line to save Shibuya from danger. Rumi would listen quietly to the very end, and then Kano thought he knew just what she'd say. Short and sweet. In that gentle voice of hers. Good job. Okay, but Osawa. Osawa though. What's gonna happen to Osawa though? I don't know if he's dead or not. Actually wasn't that far from finishing the story then, I guess. Also, I really hope this song won't get me a copyright strike. Guess we'll fuck around and find out. I guess like they play like this part of the song several times and hasn't got me copyright striked yet, so I think I should be fine. What happened to you, Kajiwara? Oh, I hope you're not dead. Hope you got medical assistance in time. What's gonna happen with Susanne, though? She still needs a heart. She still needs a heart. Oh. Stinger. Gordon and Alfred sat in the back seat as the cart sped along the highway. Here. Tossed a handcuff key into the seat beside him. Happened down at the scramble. Leyland Palmer was arrested by the Japanese police, and the bomb and detached case was defused, apparently. Palmer shouldn't pose a problem once we get him to CIA custody. I see. Much obliged. Got yourself back into a corner, though, didn't you? You're evil. Okay, CIA is evil, apparently. I guess Jack Stanley must be out of the loop, then. Really got yourself back into a corner, though, didn't you? Yeah, I was only able to accomplish half of what I intended. Half. Produced a vial from her pocket. So, when did she get Hitomi's blood? It's filled with red liquid. Is that Hitomi's blood? Managed to acquire the antiviral, but when? Peered at her in bewilderment. When he blew up the minivan? I guess she must have I guess it would make sense. She did do a diving save towards Hitomi, and then had Achi and Hitomi go on their way while she was taken to the hospital by Stanley. Dim light of the vehicle, Alfred's eyes shone darkly, like those of a wounded animal. Extracting the blood from Hitomi while she was unconscious had been a simple matter. Saving the girl's life had been more than just a means of ensuring her trust. Looking for the right moment to carry out the extraction. Total secrecy was essential. If it became public knowledge that the drug existed and some of it had been stolen, the value of the UA virus would plummet. Our primary objective here was to destroy that research facility. Getting our hands on the antiviral was better than nothing. Well, that is always, Alfred. Her expression softened, but Alfred was in no mood to return his smile. Ugh. If Maria Osawa had remained inside the facility, her plan would have succeeded. Everything else up until that point had gone off without a hitch. The one thing Alfred hadn't anticipated was Maria bringing the bomb outside. Injected Maria with a knockout drug. When? With a knockout drug back at Endo Electronics that should have kept her from moving around for a while, even after she regained consciousness. I guess instead of her like collapsing unconscious and her rushing over to her side, it was more like she rushed to her side and then she fell unconscious. In any case, she wouldn't have expected the girl to just march into the midst of an armed standoff. Told him that Maria would never leave the lab. She judged how strong the girl's feelings for Cannon were. Maria's body had been put into a state of torpor. There were people pointing guns at each other, and still she had been undeterred. Hinged on Maria's relationship with Cannon, and ironically, that same relationship had made the plan fall apart. It's true that she had accomplished half of her goals, but Alfred still couldn't shake her sense of failure. She softly bit her lip as she gazed out through the car window. Bright windows of a few buildings shone out in the midst of the otherwise darkened city. A group of tiny lights that refused to be washed out by the darkness. The end. Okay. Find out what happens next in the canon anime, I guess.